Hi, my name is Annamieka, and this is the Art Friends Show, where every conversation focuses on getting to know the essence of creativity itself. I'd love to invite you as well to join me inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics and join in with other art friends around the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to the show. Welcome to the Art Friends Show. Here's an artist you're gonna love to know. Hi, my name is Annamieka. I'm an artist in Portland, Oregon. I'm wearing this contraption on my head because I was just working with a private client here in my own studio I was kind of like modeling for her as she was bringing a vision to life of this woman holding this thing here and a face and like a bunch of stuff on the head. So we quickly threw together this, and I thought it was so fun that I am wearing it. So this is a nod to Tammy. So today on the show, we're going to have Quire, who is an artist here in the Portland metro area. Cannot wait to introduce you. We're going to talk about being on the Arts Commission, being artists with mental health, being artist mothers, and an event coming up for Quire. Before we invite on our guest on day 71, I am totally owning that this entire show is brought to you by my art business. And here's what I do. I offer a service for artists to hire me as a mentor. I do private mentoring, private art lessons. I have an intensive program, and I can also do just a package of sessions to help you with your work, create it, own your voice, and debut it. I work with artists of all levels. Definitely message me if you're interested in working together. I'm also building something called the Art Friends School, where you can take classes with me and other art friends year-round. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to invite Quire in, and we get to learn all about your world. Here we go.
Hi.
There you are. Hi. Yay.
Hi.
Welcome to the Art Friends Show.
Super excited. Super excited. Yeah.
I'm going to grab my dog because she's loud. I apologize. But while I go through that, can you tell everyone your name and where you live?
Yeah.
And share some of your work?
So get the dog. Hi, I'm Quire. I live in Oregon City, Oregon. I used to live in Portland and work in Portland, Oregon. I recently, last year, actually, I meant to let you know I was still doing art in Portland, and then I moved full time to Oregon City just because it's easier because I live here and it's my community. So yeah, that's who I am. Right now I do landscape work, and I'm doing a series exploring the historical buildings in our neighborhood and sites that were stolen from Indigenous peoples, and reimagining the landscape and painting that, and then doing a ghost image of that historical building over those. So I can show you an image of that. So that's that's the series I'm working on right now.
Wow.
I'm also working on finding ways to make my art more accessible, like through cards and prints and stickers and stuff like that. So, and yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to see some of your work.
Yeah.
And Oregon City has, Willamette Falls, I believe, right there. And that's, let's see what you're doing.
So quick note about Oregon City. It is the oldest city west of the Rockies, older than San Francisco. It is the end of the Oregon Trail, like the game. The real life thing happened here. And so there's lots of history. There's lots of historic buildings. And yes, there's a waterfall. If you don't know, the Willamette River actually drops and continues going. And right where it drops, there's a nice waterfall on the Willamette River. So it's pretty special.
Yeah. Cool. It's cool to hear you've really moved there, and it sounds like you're very active in the community as well as an artist and community member.
Yeah, the community has a wonderful artist guild called TRAG, Three Rivers Artist Guild, that I joined when I first came. I had to pedal back on that because I got pregnant, which we'll talk about later. And then I rejoined, and I'm also currently on the city's Arts Commission as a commissioner. So that's a new development in the last few months, and it's really exciting. And I get to create opportunities for artists as an artist. So I'm super stoked to be able to do that. So it's really exciting.
So phenomenal. Yeah. And we met when you worked at an art supply store in the Foster Powell neighborhood, and you were such an advocate then, and always like hooking me up. I think I was teaching every week at the time, and I would come in with like my eyes bugging, like I need all this stuff. Yeah. So let's see some of your work.
Oh yeah. So the series I'm talking, I'll just show you one of the pieces of the series I just described. So this is an old growth forest, and I actually went on a hike in an old growth forest and got source imagery to do this painting from.
Wow.
And then the historic building over it is the McLaughlin House. John McLaughlin is the white dude that said, I'm discovering this place, even though it was already discovered for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And and he's kind of known as the founder, quote unquote, of Oregon City.
Yeah.
So so this is his home. It's actually a national park. So if you go toward the home, a park ranger with the hat and everything will give you the tour. It's pretty interesting.
Really?
And it is an interesting tour. Yeah. So this is probably what the land would have looked like had it been left to grow. And in this area, this is the upper riparian forest, which means higher, a little bit higher up, but next to water.
This is
This is
such a strong concept for a body of work. This is so cool.
Thanks. I've only done two, and I'm working on a third that is actually centered around the Tumwater, the falls. So, which I've been doing months of research on, and I actually have a drawing now to go paint from. So I'm really excited about that because I'm actually almost ready to paint. So, but here's the other work I completed. This one is, this one's kind of shiny because it's protected. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is a camas field. Indigenous communities would actually, and families would actually have their own field that they would cultivate and come back to every year. And so this is at a place called Annamieka, which is a nature reserve up in this area. And it's like kind of like a upper riparian / oak savanna. So a lot of Oregon was oak savanna. So it's been restored and back to kind of what it might have been type of thing. So I stuck a camas field in there because that camas is actually blossoming right now. If you go to Quire right now, it's popping everywhere.
Awesome.
So check it out. Go for a hike. It's a great place to hike. It's awesome.
And this was a major starchy food source for indigenous people living in the region.
Yes, they would, and still harvest the bulbs and pound it down and make little ready cakes out of it that were travelable and storable and just a food source all year round. So
yeah. Amazing.
Well,
wow, I'm so into this work you're doing. Okay, we are gonna cover a lot today. So we want to talk about your experience as an artist, mother.
Yeah. So me and my partner / spouse weren't supposed to be able to get pregnant. We got a surprise pregnancy with my daughter. She's gonna turn 4 in July. So and the first year of her life, I didn't really do work. So I'm like the default parent, primary parent. My partner has like a career job, so which is nice, creates stability for us and allows me to continue doing my work, which I'm really grateful for. And also I've always wanted to just be a mom too, like always. So but being an artist and a mom is such an interesting, tricky thing, and I love it. I got back into it by just going after bedtime, and I would take a big chunk in the weekend that he'd be like, it's a special daddy-daughter day and I'm gonna go paint by for hours, type of thing. And then when she was ready, she's a super social individual, so I put her in preschool a little earlier than I had planned, but she needed it. She would wake up every morning and be like, Mom, text the mom so I can have some kid time. I'd be like, cool, I'll get on that. I'm your personal assistant, no problem. So that enabled me to get more hours. So now I have kind of I get a 4-hour chunk 5 days a week to come to the studio. So I have a more regular studio time. So
so you're in a studio outside of your house?
Yes, I've always done that. We live in a pretty small house, but it is a 7-minute walk from my house. It's in a historic church. They have a gymnasium and then some offices on the side. So I walk through the gymnasium and then I come to my studio office, and it's pretty close. A lot of times I'll walk the dog here and stuff. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty flexible. So
that sense of it sounds like our daughters are just a few months apart in age.
Really?
Cool. And I definitely have felt a major replenishment of my own energy to do my work. since she started preschool. She started preschool in September of this past year.
Yeah.
And this is so silly.
It's hard to get, I love it though. It's hard to get in that headspace though. And also,
yeah, it's taken me all year. I mean, here we are, day 72 in a row of me like just kind of marching along, like, I want to do this. How do I do this again?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be like staunchly like committed to figuring it out. Like I have a schedule with like half-hour increments, like planned out my studio day, that if I stick to, I'm productive. And if I'm not able to stick to, you know, but yeah, I think the biggest gift though, that having that time taken away, before that, I was really focused on like, I gotta make interesting work and create new concepts and get my work out there. I gotta figure gallery representation and all this stuff. And that's not bad, like do that as an artist, but I had totally neglected to connect with my actual need to make art. And then when that was taken away, like not like taken away like by force, by choice, obviously. When I didn't have that anymore and got back into it, I just realized it's something I need to do for myself, which was a huge, beautiful gift. Like, I need to be making work. I need to be painting every day. And then that leads into like mental health things too, that that I discovered since motherhood. So, but yeah, even there. Yeah. Oh, you want to go there? Okay. So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to rush these incredibly rich topics. I'm so curious how your experience of like, well, I guess which parts of the art making process were the essential ones to return to? It sounds like painting every day.
Just working. Yeah. Working, because when I first got into it, I didn't have like a topic or communication or a series or a theme. I was just like, I'm just going to put paint down. And also I changed mediums because I was doing lots of mixed media with like acrylic painting and plexiglass and lights and embroidery and just stuff, and which I love. I love the
plexiglass.
The layers. And just like, that's not practical. That takes a lot of time. And I'm like, and a lot of research and a lot of learning. I think with every series I did up to that point, I was learning new techniques every time. Right? Whether the last series I did while I was pregnant, I actually learned how to do 3D printing and an open source CAD program. So I'm like learning huge new techniques, right? So I'm like, gee, I don't have time for that anymore. What do I have time for? I have time for watercolor and gouache, because you can leave your brushes, they're not going to die. You know, clean them every once in a while. You just walk away from it, come back, pick up where you left off. And I'm like, this is wonderful. So, and then I just started doing like little, like, I honestly started like writing sayings from my heart. Like, I don't even remember what I wrote. I wrote something down like, I don't even, I sing for the healing of myself and my sisters, like things like that like just brought me back to myself and why I was doing this. And then I paint around it. And then I did a little series of family portraits and it actually helped me with a lot of postpartum stuff. And then I was like, you know, at the core of me, I love nature, and I've always wanted to do, and I've dabbled in nature stuff before. I did a nature series before this that was different, but I was like, I'm just going to do landscapes. I have a lot of pictures of hikes and adventures I've done, and I have a ton of stuff to draw from. So I'm just going to do small landscapes so I can actually feel productive, like I'm doing something. So I do the larger series, and then in between those things, I do tiny little landscapes that are like now cards. Like this is a good example. It's a fine art print that is also a card. You can frame it or just mail it to grandma, and that's like a little sea dune bramble at the Oregon coast, and it's like a little 4x4. You know, I have I have a bunch of them. I have like, this one is, that's the gorge. So you know, and these are like tiny 4x4s, so they're not overly detailed.
Your command of like value contrast with dark and light, and then you've got your atmospheric perspective with like brighter saturated colors in the front and then into like the, you know, fading into the back. I mean, you're a painter. You're really good at this. It's really nice to see.
Thank you.
So how's your relationship with your art and mental health intersected since becoming a parent?
So since becoming a parent, I'm in therapy once a week.
Me too.
Pretty crazy childhood, and like a lot of those things come back up, and I want to be like, I want to be the best parent I can be, and this is really hard. If you don't know, parenting's hard.
Oh my Parenting, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I think I've got it. We all develop different.
I know. It's like you go through that, like, you go through like a week, I'm like, man, I am killing this. And then they're like, nope, I'm a new person. You're like, oh my gosh, now need to get to know you and your needs and how it's like a whole, like every few weeks, a new learning process, every few months. It's really fun.
Yeah, reparenting, I don't know about you, but like learning how to parent myself. Like I finally got that I'm the adult in my own life. Took me a minute to get there.
Yeah.
So parenting myself as well as parenting a bodacious 4-year-old who needs who needs limits, who needs structure, and of course all the magic. Yeah, keep going.
Doctor's office.
Yeah. So, oh yeah.
For an appointment for my child that I was rearranging before this interview, or arranging.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Make it time to do a deep interview about your art, revealing about your mental health journey while also fielding calls from your daughter's doctor. That is our life.
That's our life. That's it. That was the perfect example. So yeah, I think I also was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and ADHD that I had no idea that I had. I'm 44 years old and I didn't know I was struggling. I just thought everybody had this hard of a difficult time in life. It's like, oh, everybody needs to take a nap after doing dishes, right? No, it's you don't, your brain doesn't create dopamine, and so executive tasks are very tasking on your whole body, and you actually do need some chemical help to be able to just do the dishes like a person who does it.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting. The biggest help I want to first of all say that how I feel about mental health and my journey, and what I do advocate for medication and therapy as a combination. For myself, that has worked, and I feel like I did a lot of stuff without medication for a long time, and then for me, when I got medication, things changed drastically. My reading comprehension was horrible, and the two biggest things for me is like a lot of art is like applying to things and writing an artist thing and updating your website and all those types of things. Such a struggle, so difficult. Not fun now. I mean, you'd rather paint, right? But it would take me like 3 weeks to do an application to a call, and now it can take me like 3 hours. So there's a huge difference of like the amount of mental effort it would take to do things like that. Like, so that's a big change in the function for me as an artist. And like also just back to like realizing like if I don't paint for a few days, I get a little prickly. And I have to own up to that. And I have to like talk to my spouse like, hey, I did a lot of research this week. I didn't have a lot of time to paint. So I need to hike or something.
Yeah.
Like just understanding yourself and what your needs are and how to get those met is super important as a parent.
Wow.
Because you can't show up as your best self for your kid.
Yeah.
If you're not giving yourself what you need.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Also, I want to commend you and like what you just did there and revealing and sharing, like whoever's listening to this, the permission giving that it has there is so huge. And it sounds like you're being such an advocate of like ownership of mental health, and then communicating about it with your spouse and yourself, and also acknowledging, like admitting things are hard. I don't know about you, but I mean, for me to admit things like that for neurotypical brains might be more like no big deal, to be able to admit that they're hard and then seek out help. It's not like quite such a tidy nutshell. There's a lot of like crying and shame and overcoming and like years of wondering what's wrong before that kind of acceptance. So I just really want to celebrate you. And our community is full of neurodiverse individuals with like, different things going on in our brain. It's part of the gift as well. But it like sucks to be in a world that's not set up for it.
Right. Yeah. It's all those things.
Yeah.
You totally hit it, dude.
I at one point realized like almost my entire mentorship program, the Visual Artist Accelerator, it's like based on how I've made art my whole life. It's basically like how to make art for ADHD. I never realized that before, but I mean, it's like once you start looking into it, it's like all these ways to like embrace that expansive type of thinking, and a lot of self-acceptance work and a lot of my own mental health work like pours into it. Anyway,
I was kind of afraid it would change my creative process and my like how I connect with myself spiritually that way.
Yeah.
And it with medication, and it hasn't. Like, so it's actually like I paint better, like without as much effort and confusion, and it's more pleasurable to paint because it's not so
amazing.
What am I doing?
Your work,
like
it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. My dear, we have like 4 minutes, so today is just my marathon client day. So, I want to definitely just touch on your experience as an arts commissioner and tell people about your upcoming community art show.
So I'll plug the art show real quick because that's what you do. It's TRAG, the Artist Guild out here puts on a couple art shows a year, and this is the spring one. It's called the Spring Fling, and it's this weekend here in Oregon City. It is at the Pioneer Community Center, which, if you like, it's a really quaint area. There's a historic firehouse and 2 historic homes next door, and then the library that was built by Carnegie. Cool, interesting, fun, quaint stuff going on here in Oregon City. So if you're into that, there's going to be a lot of great artists, local artists. It's with artists with here and I think Westland and a couple other communities. That it's called 3 Rivers because there's 3 rivers around here. So that is Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4 at the Pioneer Community Center.
I hope you have a blast.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm super excited. And so that's happening. I'll have all this is kind of I've been practicing my setup to like make my zhuzh, zhuzh my little shop. Oops, sorry. And then, a couple months ago, I became a commissioner on the City Art Commission. And we just launched a grant program that we are now going over the applications, and I get to create calls for art for different opportunities in the city, and I get to help vote on those things, and we get to, it's really great. We have lots of things in the works, and it's really interesting to learn about how city government works and how an organization works and all those things. It's like, it's real grown up stuff. Pretty cool.
I'm very intrigued and excited to learn more about that. And I'm really glad that you are on the commission, that's you. That's really cool. It's cool how you stepped into that role. And wow, what a bunch of, it's so good to reconnect with you and celebrate you. Congrats.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing is incredible. Like the marathon of interviews and your mentorship, and I've always enjoyed interacting with you. I thought you were amazing. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, hon. I'm just trying to, hone the I've always been such a fan of all my art friends and, peers, and mentoring became a really natural extension of that. And as I thought about this project, I was just like, let's just do this.
Yep.
I have I've lost everything that used to feel normalized, and that it's like now it's just building into this structure. So for participating. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll have to have you on the show again because I want to ask you so many more questions.
Let's do it.
And then we all know how to produce it as a YouTube show, and we can go longer and whatever. But I'm going to wrap up. Everyone, this is Quire. She's working in Oregon City. Definitely listen to this one. Share with your friends. Comment. Cheer her on. Follow her. And thanks for coming on the Art Friend Show.
Thanks, Annamieka.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. I'd love to have you inside of Art Friend School, where we go deeper into these topics. Follow the link that's in the show notes or find it on my website at annamieka.com.